Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Doha Heat Podcast. Today, I am with someone really special. His name is Nigel Downes.
Yes, Downes. Thank
Downes?
you.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
You're more than welcome. Glad to be here.
So, Nigel is doing a lot of things, so I can't really describe him with one word, but he's a photographer, and we're going to talk a little bit more about his career.
Cool.
And everything else.
And
all the projects that you're
want.
doing.
Anything you want.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm a little bit unusual. First and foremost, I didn't have a normal family life. Not sad. I grew up in an all people's home. So I think I'm the only person I know who had 44 grandparents. Actually, no, because I have my own grandparents. So I had 47.
Okay.
47 grandparents. I lived in an all people's home until I was 18 years old.
Why? Why did you grow up in?
Oh, this will go on forever if we're not careful. My mum was a nurse. It was that simple. My mum was a nurse. My father, bizarrely, was injured terribly and nearly died, literally as I was born. So my mother, and he was the main breadwinner. So my mother panicked and wondered what to do because she had a very, very poorly husband who was actually in hospital, and she had two young boys and a baby. Well, two young boys. I was one of them. I was the baby. Mm-hmm. So in those days, because she was a nurse, she had the chance to take over a government nursing home because of her qualifications, and you had to live in the home. Whoever ran it, the big boss, had to live there. So it was ideal for her because she could move in. She could have her little boys with her. She could work. She could keep an eye on them. And then when her husband came out of hospital, she could keep an eye on him. So she was the breadwinner.
So how was that experience?
It was lovely. It was really nice.
Do you think
it was really
how
nice.
How would it be different from like someone with a more regular, childhood?
I can't say because I didn't have one.
Right.
I can't say because I didn't grow up in a normal little family. The nuclear family.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I don't know. I've never lived that life. But I tell you, my earliest memories. I remember going to school and I would come home. And there would be 40. Think about it. Old people can be lonely. So I was definitely spoiled when it comes to attention. It was really nice, and I had all that wisdom. 44 people. I would come home from school, and we had these 3 really big lounges, and they were the main lounges. And then there was 1, 2, 3, 4 mini lounges, and this was a really big place, by the way. And then there was a great big sun lounge. So hang on, let me get 3, 4, 7. There would be about 8 places where the old ladies and the old men would hang out and do their thing. And I would just do laps and circuits and tell everybody about my day. They would tell me about their day. It was absolutely ideal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you grew up like
it was lovely.
Being the center of attention.
I was a prince.
Because I also for the first few years of my life, I lived with my grandparents. I lived with my mom as well, and then she left to go to Dubai where my dad was. So I was with my grandparents, and my mom still says you are so loved because you got that attention.
You are. I think that age group and little children do really well.
Yeah.
There's something really beautiful about it, and parents are stressed. They've got a lot going on in their life.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. Yeah, it was.
Awesome. So where did your interest in photography come from?
Through those people. If I'm, I turned 57 this year. So I was born in 1962. So if we think about my earliest memories, really, because you really start to remember things and you really start to test your world around about the age of 3. That's where my memories kick in from what I can remember. Mm-hmm. Then I suppose a really early child, maybe from 5, where you're able to go and chat to people. So that would be, let's do the maths, that would be 1967. The Vietnam War was just starting to get going.
Oh.
And I would go and see the old people. They would chat to me, and then they would go back to their rooms, and they would come back with boxes or biscuit tins. And they'd give me the memories, and they would be going through the tins, and they would pull out old plate photographs. Because I had a lady called Bertha Atkinson who I really loved, and she was 100 years old.
Oh.
So if you think she was 100 in the 70s, she was born in 1870. So you can imagine how far we were going back here.
Yeah.
So they were bringing out
Oh,
the
wow.
early photos and showing me early photos. And I saw photos of people in the Boer War and the Crimea. You really old.
Yeah.
And they had books, but they were always showing me these old photos and sharing the memories. And I just got a love of photos from that, really. It's an unusual story, but it's
Yeah.
nice.
And how did that translate into, your career? Like, did you join school where you, like a
Well, I was the family
photography school?
photographer. I was the family photographer as a child because I had a love of, but I didn't know manual. I didn't know what to do. I just used to aim the camera. But everybody, even when I was a kid, liked the photos. I think I must have read a book and I must have remembered always keep the camera level. And I used to take nice pictures as a child. And I'll quickly tell you a lovely story. So the Queen of England came to Blackburn. I can't remember when that was. It was the early 60s when I was tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents bought me a camera just because the Queen of England was coming. I think there was crowds everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was stood there, this tiny little boy, with my camera. And by the time the Queen got there, I'd gone through all the shots and there was no film left. Because I'd photographed all the policemen were there in their medals. Because they were all dressed up policemen. And a lot of them in those days had been through the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd been in the army. So because the Queen was coming, they put the medals. And to this little boy, I thought they were way more interesting than the Queen.
So you took all the pictures?
Yeah, and but we developed the film and I was really happy with the shots. I didn't really care about the Queen. The Queen's nice, but I had books at school full of the Queen. So I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
I didn't feel I needed any more photographs of the Queen.
Wow.
I got them.
Okay. So did you self-teach yourself photography, or did you join school, and what was it like?
I struggled. First of all, when I studied, I didn't study photography. I went into industry, but I was at college for 4 years. And it just so happened that the college I went to also did photography. So I got to meet the photographers there, and I went to night school. To my shame, I tried to study photography 3 times and failed miserably every time. Eventually I succeeded. So I'm the only photographer I know. I persevered. I found photography really difficult.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just, I'm dyslexic. And I have a little bit of ADHD, as you can see. I talk away and I'm all over the place. And I found the structure and the way it was taught was really, really difficult.
Okay.
And they were all I was into the science. I just wanted to make the pictures. So, I dropped out repeatedly.
But you kept doing it.
I did. I never let go. I never wanted to be, I have to tell you, I never wanted to be a photographer. I had no interest in being a photographer. I always was a photographer. I was a photographer since the age of 6. But I really didn't think it would be a career. I had no interest in it being a career. And this was really bizarre. We're going to cut years ahead now. We're going to cut into the 90s really quickly. I used to work in the city in London. And I had a well-paid job. I had a good career. And I used to get headhunted from time to time. And when you got headhunted, there was a lot of money to be paid to the agency. Mm-hmm. I thought this was really interesting. They would run psychometric tests on you. And the psychometric test would be, the agencies would always do this because it cost a lot of money to buy somebody when you're headhunting.
Yeah.
There's big fees to be paid. So the people that are headhunting you through an agency, they want to make sure they're getting value for money and you really are good for the job. Mm-hmm. So they do psychometric testing to see that you really are a good career fit. And whenever they did my psychometric test, it always came back as he would make an ideal photographer. And they would always say, you scored well for your career, but by the way, did you know that it also says you should also, or could be a photographer? And I would always laugh and go, well, I am. But I never thought I would do photography for a living.
So how did that change? What happened?
Oh, crazy story. A really crazy story. I got septicemia.
Which
sepsis.
Is? Okay.
Blood poisoning, which kills you. And sepsis, when it's really bad, can kill you. So it's the same as the meningitis family. It really is really, really seriously ill. And like a typical guy, I ignored it completely and thought I'll get better tomorrow. And then I fell really ill the day. I got it. I need to tell you, I got it off a training shoe. I bought a pair of new training shoes and they rubbed my heel.
Oh my God.
They rubbed my heel, and then this is a lesson to anybody who's listening. You're always told never burst a blister. And I burst a blister with a pin, and I didn't sterilise the needle. I just popped it in.
Oh my God.
And that gave me...
It's a horror story.
It is a horror story, yeah. So there's a lesson to be learned. And I think... So sepsis kills you-ish, I believe, within about... People start to die within about 12 hours because it's major. It really is a serious illness. And I managed to stagger through for about 72 hours, feeling really, really ill.
And you still didn't go to the doctor?
No, I didn't. And this is terrible. Remember, my mother was a nurse. I actually phoned my mother and said, I feel really ill. It's like flu. And I didn't. My legs are all swollen. And she actually said to me, I think you've got septicemia. Sepsis, go to the hospital, you'll die. And of course, it's all my mother. My mother's always panicking about me. Yeah, I'll go tomorrow. And I didn't go. And then, to cut a long story short, I felt really, really strange in London. So I jumped in a taxi. And I said, take me to the hospital. And that's the last thing I remember. And the guy turned around in his taxi. And when he looked, I was unconscious on the back seat. And then I woke up, I think, 3 or 4 days later. I woke up feeling not very well. And then they told me, they said, you nearly died. And it was really serious.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then I spent time in hospital. And it's really weird to think that you nearly died. And if I'd have been doing something like mountain climbing, if I'd have been doing something incredibly dangerous, I think I would have been comfortable. Because you think that the end, something dreadful would, maybe you were driving at a 200 kilometers an hour. You don't expect to buy a pair of training shoes
and then,
and that would end your life. And it really did something really, really strange to me. I actually sat down and thought, that could have been it. What have you done with your life? Are you happy? It was a real thing. So I went to India to recover. I went to India. India's probably
You went to India to recover?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I
came out of hospital and they said, you need a long recovery period. You won't be working for a long time. I felt really weak. You could tell, I knew I'd been really ill. So it was coming up to winter in the UK, and I wanted to think. I didn't want to spend a huge amount of money. I know I needed some sunshine, so I thought I'd go to India.
Where did you go in India?
Well, I started off in, as everybody does, I think at that time, Goa. This was a long time ago. I went to Goa. Didn't like Goa that much. I thought it wasn't really what I was after. Goa was nice. But of course, I couldn't fight infections because I'd been ill. So my blood count, my white blood cells were low. So then I got the Enfield bullet, and I started to drive down the Ornico highway. And I went to Karnataka, and I think I was heading to Kerala. And I really enjoyed India. I really, really, really enjoyed
Karnataka
India.
and Kerala might be good places to recover anyway.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get an injection. I didn't take any. I had no injections whatsoever before I went. So I didn't take any precautions. And next thing I know, I caught typhoid.
Oh my God! So what? So
no, listen. I have to tell you, I had the most beautiful experience because I was so ill. They didn't want to transport me to a major hospital. So the local doctor said he's too ill, so they put me in the tut-tut, and they took me to a tiny little 9-bed infirmary run by nuns. And I spent a long time there recovering, and it was really nice. I actually enjoyed it. It was fun.
I cannot believe that. And then I know there are a bunch of other stories where you...
If you want to end this, as bizarre as it sounds, so...
Yeah, what is with you and horror stories?
No, these aren't horror stories. This was life-changing. It was really nice.
I guess, yeah.
I came out of hospital. I didn't want to go home. I didn't feel well. So I just stayed in India, and I really enjoyed India. And I started to get well, and then I met somebody from Vietnam, and then so I was thinking this could be a relationship, and we started traveling a little bit. So I went to Thailand, and I went to Nepal, and I started moving around Asia, and I was starting to get well again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to feel fit, and just as I was starting to feel fit, which was coming up to the anniversary of the sepsis that had nearly killed me, I suddenly thought, I feel well again. So I got an invite to go to America if I wanted to and do some sailing on a yacht. And it was in New England, and I love to sail. So I jumped at the opportunity, which I thought was fantastic. And I went to New England, and I remember I announced, I'm back. Nigel is back, and I'm feeling fit and healthy again. I really feel I've recovered, and I've worked hard. About 2 days later, I was sleepwalking in the middle of the night, and I walked off a building. I walked off the roof of a building in my sleep. My arm came out of my back. My pelvis exploded.
Oh God!
Internal injuries.
Your life is a movie.
I was too badly damaged. They wouldn't fly me back. Better still, I was in the hospital. And I said, it's fine. I've been traveling for a long time, and I've got really good insurance. And they checked the insurance paperwork, and I suddenly remembered. When I did my insurance, they said, are you going to go to America? That was the only question. Are you going to go to America? And I said, no. So they put a no through there because you have to pay a premium. So suddenly, I came out of my operation. I think in the first hour I'd spent $64,000. There's an accountant waiting for you. I came round on morphine and in traction and more operations needed. And he said, it was basically, you just spent $64,000. And we went in your credit card, we got your credit card out of your wallet. And we're a bit worried about the money. And we've got your paperwork because your friends bought the paperwork. And your insurance is invalid. So
what did you do?
There wasn't a lot I could do. It kind of bankrupted me almost. Strange time. Well, it didn't bankrupt me. I just didn't know what to do. I should have had a lot more operations, but they couldn't be done, and people didn't fly me across the Atlantic. And I lost the use of my arm, and I was told I would never use this one,
which you're using now.
Yeah, that was a yoga teacher. There's a story in itself.
You need like a bunch of hours.
Yeah, so what happened is I was in a wheelchair in America, and I'm quite an optimistic person, as you can see, quite upbeat.
Yeah.
I tend to see the good side. I tend to see the funny side. And I enjoyed. I know it sounds crazy. I hadn't enjoyed being ill, but being ill hadn't really bothered me too much. I'd enjoyed the time to think. So this was just a new chapter. I was certainly used to being in hospital. So I ended up on my wheelchair, and this was really nice. I got the opportunity to cross America in a wheelchair. So I got a camera, and I started shooting from the wheelchair, and that was really nice. I really enjoyed shooting from the view of a wheelchair.
Okay. So that's where you started.
Yeah, and I got back. I really
photography.
got back heavily into photography from the wheelchair. Yeah. To stop me going crazy, to be honest. And then I really enjoyed it. In fact, I remember I shot loads of black and white. It was my first road trip across America in a wheelchair. It was my first road trip, full stop. And it really kick-started me back into photography with a passion this time. And for some bizarre reason, I did the best work I'd ever done. From a wheelchair.
From a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I got recognition from that. That was nice. People started to see my work. I think it's because it was just such a crazy story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's what it is.
Here's the guy that shoots from his wheelchair.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about writing a book about all of these things?
I wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know. I don't know. Do you know everybody says you should write a book? It's so bizarre, is your story.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I love writing, but I'm dyslexic. And I do actually write an awful lot, but my grammar is terrible. But I don't care. My view is I can't spell to save my life. I used to be embarrassed by it, but now I don't care. I actually think if you read my work, You know exactly what I'm saying. I think there's something wrong with people who go, if I wrote the meaning of life to you, and it was real, and I said, that's the meaning of life, would you sit there and go, well, hang on, you put a comma there, and your punctuation is terrible?
Yeah.
Or would you go, it's the meaning of life?
Yeah.
So, I might write one day. I like to write. I enjoy writing.
Okay, let's get back to your photography career.
Go on.
So you covered the Rwandan Genocide.
Yeah, I did. That was I commemorated it. I went to Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, and Kenya. And it's wrong to say. Yeah, genocide was involved. I was more. My work was. I'm anti-violence. I'm actually anti-war. I'm a nice sort of peace-loving person. And I knew some people that had been involved in the genocide, and they said, "Look, can you come over and can you help publicise?" So I went out there, and what we were looking for, and I'm probably going to do it again this year. I'm probably going to go and see the Rohingyas this year. What we did is we found people who'd survived the genocide, but were involved in a really brutal way. All of them had lost people. It was really quite a sad tale. But it was really specific about what I did, because we found people, and it wasn't I, it was a big team of us. We found a lot of people that had decided, that all had an epiphany, almost like a religious moment, and that all realised that all of this was caused by anger and hatred, all of it, because you don't kill unless you're angry and you hate something. And all of the people had been dreadfully tortured. I mean, horribly. If I told you the stories, you would be really upset. So what we did is we found these people that rejected violence. And even though they'd lost sisters, brothers, children, husbands, wives, all of them had been deeply affected. A lot of them had actually witnessed the killings of their own family members. And they had just all had this epiphany. And the epiphany was, if I seek revenge, and if I let my heart be full of hatred, then I will want to kill. And it's about break the chain. It was a tremendously strong piece of work. Really, really was. I was amazed to find these people.
Wow.
Not many people. So what we did, I wasn't sure how to cover it because, I'm not a video guy. So what we did do is we got them to go away and work on the story, which wasn't easy. They would condense and it was always tragic. They would condense that to 15 minutes. They would then come and sit with me, exactly the same distance we are now. And it was intimate. It was just the two of us. And they would tell me the story, and we recorded it. We did an audio. We recorded it. And you can imagine they were really emotional telling me the story. I mean, I found it really difficult to do.
Yeah, for sure, I can imagine.
And then the second that they stopped that story, and regardless, if they were crying terribly, I'd let them clean themselves up quickly. And then what I would do is I used a studio camera, and it was all about the eye contact. So I went straight into the eyes with really large portraits, and we had the audio. And then you put the earphones on. So when we did the exhibition, we did it. Do you remember Angela Jolie when she did the big exhibition 2014? She did the huge conference in London, Violence Against Women.
Yes.
We got it accepted there.
Oh, wow.
And it's been in America. It's been all over. It's a really moving piece. I gifted it away because I didn't want it to be it's not a piece by Nigel Downes, or it takes the message away. So I gifted it. I didn't give the copyright away, but I gave full use of the copyright, and I gave it to an organisation, the Quakers, because they promote peace, and I'd worked with them. So they keep it as a rolling exhibition, which goes around schools, goes to universities. It's gone to the UN in New York. It did the.
That's amazing.
Jolie. Yeah, and it's a really nice. And then we published it as a book.
Wow. Very
and
cool.
I think we're going to do it again this year. I think I'm going to do it again this summer. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. It was not nice. Nice sounds all happy. It was worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really.
Did it change you?
Really, it massively. Yeah.
How?
I don't know if I should tell you this. It made me psychiatrically ill for a little while.
Oh.
No, it was not that way. I mean, I got depressed from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think a normal human being can't go into that. You can't go into that environment and feel. You can't walk away. If you're a normal human being, you cannot walk into that environment or walk away unaffected.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I needed time. I needed time to recover. Is it right to say, are you depressed if you've just witnessed something that should leave you feeling that way?
I don't know, but I've heard. I mean, there are lots of stories about journalists
I was
also
traumatized.
experiencing PTSD
Yeah,
out
I was
of
traumatized.
their stories that they report. I mean,
I'll tell you now. I went into a church all on my own. They wouldn't. Without going into these, I went into a church and I wasn't allowed to take the cameras, and it was all on my own. And they just said, just sitting there, and it's. They left the remains of the dead, and there's children, and it's awful. And I think it's just really hard for a normal human being to accept that.
Yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
hard. It's just hard to comprehend that.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I reported on refugees living in Malaysia, like Rohingyas and Syrians, Yemenis. I think 2 years ago, and I mean, every night I would come back home after the whole long day of reporting, call my mom and be like, I don't know how to do this. It's just
hard, yeah.
it's just very difficult because you think your life is hard before you go there.
Yes.
And then you see all of these people who are so grateful despite everything they're going through, and you hear their stories and they're horrifying. And
They
it's
are.
just-
It just doesn't compute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got friends who are upset because they can't buy a new Porsche this year. No, it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really
it
is
is.
true. Or they wanted to go to the booking in Sri Lanka and the 5-star hotel. It just didn't have any places left, and they wanted to be facing the sea. And then you're going there, and you're looking at what real problems are.
Yeah.
It's a great balancer.
Yeah.
And
You were in the privileged position when you were doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'd go back and do it in a heartbeat. But I would warn anybody that's going to go and do that. I think you need to be mentally prepared.
Yeah.
Going back, if I could go back again now, I think I'd probably go and see some form of counsellor because you can be prepared. You can be mentally prepared. Can you? Yes, you can. You can be more mentally prepared. And I think definitely I would have had a counsellor, just somebody to talk to. Just somebody to talk to just help, wash it away, just to try get it off a little while.
Yeah, maybe.
Not that you want to walk away from it, but you come out stressed.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you do. I don't mean, I'm not laughing at that. You do come out stressed.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Where do we go on from that?
I don't know where. No, what's the?
I've got a 3-legged cat. Let's talk about the 3-legged cat.
Sure.
No, I do have a 3-legged cat.
Okay.
I rescued him just before Christmas. Found him on the doorstep.
In Qatar.
Yeah, in fact, I found him on my doorstep in August. I fed him till November. Tiny little kitten. I really got to like him. And he used to bring me dead rats in the middle of the night.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And then he disappeared one day, and then I went looking for him, and then he reappeared, and he was crushed. He'd been squashed. And he was only a kitten,
That's
so
really bad.
so I had a cat that was in intensive care for 3 weeks.
I think it's like your vibe.
Yeah, no, and he sleeps on my bed now every night.
Yeah.
He lives in my room. He lives in my bedroom
Yeah.
because I've got 2 other big cats that I rescued, and they just want to eat him. He's only little. He's only got 3 legs, so until he gets a bit bigger, he lives in my bedroom and bounces on me. And he's amazing, by the way, with his 3 legs.
I'm sure. Well, we tried. Even like the cat stories with you are sad.
Don't blame me.
What's going on?
Yeah, these things just happen.
Okay, what kind of tips would you give to someone who wants to be a photographer, and I know you're a bit of both, photographer and photojournalist.
Yeah.
What kind of tips would you give for someone who wants to start out in a career like that?
That's a tough question. I would read a lot. Let me tell you a story. I had a mentor. Who really helped me. He was a great photographer. He lived to the age of about 97. He didn't start mentoring me till he was probably in his 80s. And he mentored me as a photographer, and I think he was the most influential person career-wise. And we never once talked about cameras. So we would talk about philosophy, and he was making me think. He was teaching me to try and find a story, because you're always trying to find the story. It doesn't matter if you've got a video or you've got a pen.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. You're trying to find the story. You're trying to find the angle. You're trying to dig in and get the human element.
Yeah.
So I would say, don't know your equipment. Know your equipment really, really well. But that's technical, and that's a given. You should do that anyway.
Yeah.
And if you're not very good, you need to go away and practice for many years. Because you need to be good. Because if you get to an opportunity and you fluff it, and I know somebody who's done that a few times. I know somebody, I won't name names, at Al Jazeera, who's been in some privileged places. Lovely chap. But isn't very good with the camera. I had some amazing opportunities. And I'm like, So you need to be technical.
Yeah.
But you need to be thinking, what's the story?
Yeah, definitely.
And that just comes from, being a human being.
Yeah, and listening, actually. Yeah.
Listening, inquisitive.
Yeah.
Being really inquisitive. And trying to try and dig deeper than the obvious story.
Especially when you're a journalist, that's all you hear. When people talk, you hear story ideas. That's all you hear all the time. Yeah.
And the thing is, I think, make it human. The problem with this is my problem. The problem with the news, people are bombarded with the news, and the main lines, the headlines, and they can't find the human element. So that's up to other people to go in there.
Definitely.
And then, the human element is what carries it from one human to being to another, because we're all empathetic. We're all human.
Yeah, we don't want to see a bunch of numbers, because we won't relate to that.
No, I do care how many numbers. But
of course,
go and get the individuals.
Yeah.
Bring the individuals, because the individual story is what will move you.
Yeah, like it's the story of, I forgot the name of the boy, but the picture that came of the boy who
There's
washed up on the shore.
Beach. Yeah, there was the beach and
the
the ambulance in Syria. I was really moved by that child.
And that child was wearing clothes that are very relatable. Like,
I saw his little training shoes. Either had a red short and a blue top, or the other way around. I can see it now. His little face was down. I was horrified on that. I was really, really horrified. That really moved me.
That was a very moving.
I remember I posted on social media about that, because that sort of thing really, really moves me.
Yeah.
And it should have been photographed as well. There's a whole debate of that.
It kind of became the symbol of the war.
The thing is, in this day and age, we gloss over these headlines. I even think we get immune to it.
Yeah.
So it's up there to journalists to go out and try and bring things back.
Especially now, because you're mostly like, I've stopped going to news websites to read things. I just go on my social media and read things, and I see like my friends partying, and then I see a sad story of some crisis somewhere, and then you see something else. You're scrolling through all of these different emotions.
Life will always go on.
Yeah,
exactly. I find now I try. I'm a news junkie, but I try. It's important to get a balance as well, because wherever there's bad stuff, there's always good. There's always balance. You've got to be really careful you don't focus on all of the bad.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You have to keep your sanity.
So you're doing a project, 30 Days of Ramadan. Do you want to talk about it?
I'm still figuring it out. You know the score. I'm in the panic stage at the moment. So it started off. I like photographing mosques. I really like photographing mosques. I think mosques are beautiful. I've lived in Islam for years. I don't like the way Islam is portrayed in America, and I've spent a lot of time in America. We were in DC. So I feel kind of protective. I feel like the big brother that goes, oh, hang on a moment. Because it's been a part of my life for a long time.
Yeah.
Ramadan comes up. I think a lot of people don't know it. Somebody said to me the other day, you're running something, for the Islamic world. I said, no, I'm just going to run something because it needs to be run. And it would be quite nice to do it. But as you know, as you start to drill down.
Yeah.
And at first it really was. I got all these really nice pictures of mosques as I stop and I photograph mosques because they're really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to be really quick on my feet. Then I started questioning and thinking, whoa, what's the human element? What does it mean? What does it mean to everybody? What does it mean to your particular family? So now I'm wondering if I might have to go back to the old portraits and do portraits of people and let me tell them what Ramadan means to them. Because immediately I lost the superficial bit straight away. And I don't mean this wrong. Mosques are beautiful. But when I start to do some background research, I just type, and I do this all the time, I type in the word or the subject matter, and I hit Google. I hit Google Images, and then all the kind of say the usual imagery came.
Yeah.
And then one of the things I was thinking is to somebody in, say, America who doesn't know, who isn't aware, they wouldn't know what the spirit is, or the spirituality, or the deeper thinking within. Whether I've got time to do all of that, I don't know, but I'm reaching out really quickly and asking people. So I've got my backup photos, but I'm now thinking I would like to go deeper. I certainly want to photograph prayers.
Yeah.
I like photographing people praying. I just like photographing people, but I do like photographing people praying.
So you're gonna take one picture for every day of Ramadan. That's what I've heard.
Yes, yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully, inshallah. And at first, it was going to be mosques. So you must have done this when you were studying. Suddenly, you start with one thing, and your brain goes, "Hang on a minute."
Oh, for sure, all the time.
Yeah.
Especially as a journalist.
Yeah. So for me, it's starting.
The more you get to know about it, the more your plan completely transforms.
Yeah. I wake up in the morning, and what I thought was okay yesterday, I'm thinking, well, no, we can go further with that. I met a working group last night, and everybody's giving me their own view as well, which I thought was really interesting. And then everybody's got their own unique little thing during the Ramadan, what it means to me personally, and why I think I do it. What does the fasting mean to me? And what's the element of family at the end of the day? There's so many elements.
Yeah.
I wouldn't relate it that way, but it's probably similar in the Christian to Christmas, where family come together, and it's similar. It's,
sentiments.
It's big. So it really was, what does it mean to people?
Okay.
And I'm interested in it.
So
I'm interested in
where
everything.
are you going to release, whatever you figure out, whenever you figure out, where can people find what you're going to be doing?
You'll have to talk to the person who does my social marketing.
Okay.
We'll probably put it, I did do social media, and I closed it down. Because it got too big. So my Instagram, I think in 7 months it hit 13,000.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
I closed it down.
Why would you do that?
Everybody's telling me.
You don't realize how difficult it is to get that many followers.
My Instagram's just not my Instagram hit 13,000. I closed that down. And then my LinkedIn just hit 27,000. So I went to close that down. Everybody's saying, no, you don't close them down. This was what's supposed to happen. My issue was I started taking it, when you've got 13,000 people, or coupled with the other one, well, that's over 40,000 people. And I was getting emails. Really nice emails, I have to tell you, really nice emails saying, because I don't just do a photo, I'm a storyteller. I really do. I'm definitely a storyteller.
Yeah.
So I will never post a photo without a little story. And that's the thing about Ramadan. That's why a mosque hasn't got a great story. But humans, I've never met a human that if you sit and have a cup of tea with them, you won't find a great story.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's why suddenly I'm a storyteller. I'm a photographer, but I'm not a guy who just does pictures. The picture is my talking point.
Yeah.
That's just the start.
No, I don't. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So I can see it evolving into something else.
Okay.
Did I answer your question? I think I lost the question.
The question was, where can we find it? Whatever.
So it's going to be on
now that you deleted your Instagram.
No. I started my Instagram the other day after 3 years away.
Don't delete it this time.
No, I didn't delete it. I didn't delete it. I just stopped. I just walked away. And what was really nice is, I think in 3 years I've dropped 3,000 followers. So I opened it up the other day, and it was still 10,000.
That's not bad, yeah.
Yeah, and I dropped a photograph of a job I just did recently of a loader, a digger. Like you see in a building site. Mm-hmm. I just put one of them up. And when I turned around, it had 450 likes on it. So this is for a digger. And what was really nice is a lot of people wrote, "Welcome back, we missed you."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So they
so-
realized, they noticed.
Yeah, I was really shocked. I was really shocked. And to get 450 likes when you've been away for 3 years with a dead account. So it's going to go onto there. It's I've got a photography site. We'll get you the details.
Yeah, and we'll also
We're
obviously
trying to
tag you
partner.
everywhere.
Yeah, we're trying to partner. I think we're talking to. I'm dreadful on this. I forget. We're talking to a bunch of people about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let us know, and that's fine.
Yeah, we just want to get it out there.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I forget everything. My friend does all my social media for me, so we'll get you down. And if you've got any, actually after this, you can tell me. We can photograph you.
Sure. You've already done that, I think.
Well, yeah, at Northwestern, but
Yeah.
I'm genuinely, if you've got friends who, because I love collaboration.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
really, well, you know yourself as well. Every story is collaboration. When you're interviewing somebody, it's collaboration because
Yeah.
the person's giving you the information.
I can write the stories, you can do the photos.
You can do
photos.
that. if you want to do that, I would do that with you tomorrow in a heartbeat.
Okay.
How big's your,
We should talk about our personal project.
how big's your Instagram?
Yes, you should. No, I don't have. I have 700 followers. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
well, come with me and we'll raise your profile.
Okay.
No, we'll do it. I'll do it. I promise you, I'll do it. I'd be glad to do
All
it.
right.
I love collaborating. I really
Me too.
do.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because I don't have all the skills, so why not use someone else's?
You never have all the
Yeah.
skills. You can.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm 56 years old and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I was asked to do video. Years ago, and everybody said, "Why aren't you doing video? You're going to move to video." And I said, "I haven't learned this." That was years ago, and I still haven't learned it. You know, my joke
Yeah.
with everybody is, when I've learned this and I really know it, then I'll move to that, and I will never fully ever grasp
Yeah.
that. So, and I like it as a medium. So I would seriously, by the way, I would definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You should watch out for a collaboration
There you
between
go.
us. Yeah.
Watch this space.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
no,
Watch
really
this
interested.
space.
Really interested.
Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming on our show. We
Yeah.
should have you a few more times because you have so many stories.
I'm full of them.
Yeah.
My
So, yeah.
problem is, you can't stop me.
No, and I love listening to you, so we should definitely have you back again.
Cool.
Thank you guys for listening. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. And if you're gonna see this during Ramadan Mubarak. See you. Bye bye.